Hello, Red Day artists. This is a little extra special drawing lesson that connects to our study of India. The reason you get an extra special drawing lesson is because you were virtual last week, and this is sort of an extra virtual day for us so that we can get back on track with what everyone else is doing as we study India. Because you've been doing a Learn to Draw with me for now 2 rotations, everybody else is behind you. So this will be a way of catching everyone up. You are the only group that will get to do a drawing of a banyan tree. A banyan tree is sort of like a gathering place or a clubhouse, and that happened by accident. Banyan trees grow in India and other places that have a warm, almost rainforest-like climate. They have more than one tree trunk, which is pretty strange to those of us that live in Indiana. We do not have any trees with more than one tree trunk. The reason these become gathering places is because as the tree branches grow up and out, they come back down and become more tree trunks. So it forms sort of like an on-the-ground tree house. Artisans and farmers market type vendors started using banyan trees as their selling spots, as a true farmer's market that took place under a tree. So we are going to draw a unifying symbol. That means something that brings people together, like a banyan tree, and we are going to paint the background. So you need your sketchbook from me or paper that you have at home if you can't find my sketchbook or you didn't pick it up if you were 100% virtual. You need your paints from me, and once again, use something as an alternative if you can't find your paints or you don't have them for some reason or you didn't pick them up from the office if you are 100% virtual. You'll also need a cup of water if you have your paint. You'll need a paper towel or a napkin in case we dribble and drop our paint. And you definitely need a pencil and a black crayon. If you don't have a black crayon, gray will do, brown will do. So do your best to get the equipment you need together. And I'm gonna show you, I've already started my banyan tree, but I have a step-by-step drawing guide. And I will post a photo of it under this video box so that you can see it step by step, and you won't have to pause the video. You won't have to watch the video again unless you want to. Pausing it is one way to go back and have me work slower, or you can simply look at the step-by-step image, whatever works best for you. So I'm gonna do that thing where I turn the camera and I turn me. So let me get it somewhat adjusted. Hopefully the cord is not in the way. And when I get adjusted too, I will make sure that you can see. I don't know that you can see all of my equipment, but I want you to know I've got my pencil. It's my lightsaber pencil. I have my crayon, my cup of water, my sketchbook from the art teacher, my paints from the art teacher, and a step-by-step drawing guide of a banyan tree. Our finished banyan tree will look something like this, but because a tree grows in nature, of course there's no laws or rules about exactly how the branches need to look. So the start of my drawing is right here, and I'm gonna make sure you can see it pretty well. The super sunshine in the art room is casting some strange shadows, so I'm gonna set it back down on my drawing table. I got started with step 1, which looks somewhat like, and I'm blocking off the rest of it so you can see it, parentheses that go the wrong way. Those are right at the bottom of your paper. So I'm going to start another drawing with my parentheses. And hopefully I'm drawing darkly enough that you can see. The next step is to take a wiggly line from the top of one of my parentheses and take it to the edge of the paper, and to do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna draw some branches that come down to meet the ground. In that way, I told you banyan trees grow very differently than the trees you can see in your own yard today. I'm also gonna draw a wiggly line from the top corner to almost the middle, not quite, the other top corner, almost the middle, but not quite, and from the very middle of the top to almost the middle of the paper, and stop. That was a lot of lines. I'm going to give you a moment to catch up. Next, these lines I just drew, these 3 wiggly lines, I'm going to start at the end that was almost in the middle of the paper. And I'm going to take this to the edge of my paper, making a very thick tree branch. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I don't care for how fat this tree branch is. So I'm going to draw an extra wiggly check mark almost to sort of thin that branch down. It's a little too chunky for me. And this artist would like this one to be a little skinnier too. So I'm going to divide it up into 2 skinnier branches instead of 1 big chunky branch. I'm going to add a couple more branches coming off of these ones touching the ground that are about to become new tree trunks. And then I'm going to get to work with my black crayon. I want to make sure that my finished banyan tree is colored in totally black. The reason we're using crayon is because it's waterproof. And ladies and gentlemen, our paint is watercolor. So of course it has a water base. If that's the case, I do not want to use something to color my tree that is not waterproof. The water paint will smear Crayola marker, Rose Art, Crazy Art, any of those markers, it will smear them. It will not work super great with colored pencil. It will work if you have a Sharpie, but of course it's going to go through your paper to the next page of your sketchbook. So you might want to stick a scrap paper in between your pages if you don't want it to go through. In order for me to know where to color black, I like to outline everything first. And because of the way I have to draw with this drawing screen, I find that I'm missing some spots, so I go back and take care of those, putting some nice black crayon on them. I'm going to give you a moment to catch up again. And then I'm going to begin coloring my tree. It looks best if you color it very dark. I'm going to hit it about medium darkness because I can go a bit speedier. And I know I'm always telling you speed is not part of art. But I'm trying to keep it neat and tidy and quick so that this video isn't too long. And therefore you can keep your pace slow and create well because you can pause this video and go back. Even if I go a little too quickly for you when you watch it the first time. I've got about half my tree colored. It's much easier for me to turn my paper to color the rest. There's no law that says how many tree branches I've got. There's no law that says I can't turn my paper to make coloring easier if I need to. And the same is true for you. So, you turn your paper however you need to get the coloring job done. While I'm coloring, I like to try to go ahead and decide how my background is going to look. If you're afraid of a bad blend of your paint, then stick with one color temperature. Choose just warm colors or choose just cool colors. And you won't get a bad blend ever if you stay with one color temperature. Another thing you can choose to do is rainbow order, strict rainbow order. Don't get it out of order. From top to bottom or bottom to top, doesn't really matter. Now, you may certainly add more branches. You can see my Learn to Draw Step by Step has many more, and that is certainly fine. I'm going to stop here, open my paints, and I'm going to choose rainbow order. Now, lucky for you, Paints are sold in rainbow order, so you don't have to worry about getting it wrong. You just have to pay attention to where you're painting. Don't forget, when you wet your brush, you just drag it across your paint to get color. You do not dig in your paint with your brush. It's a brush, not a shovel. These paints that I've given you have a bit of white in them to keep them light and bright. And if you don't care for that, you need more paint if you want more color. So I'm going with my red first, which is very pinkish. So to get more red look, I'm gonna have to add more paint. I'm gonna get my brush wet again. I'm adding orange next. And this is gonna take a long time to dry because I use a great amount of water. When I use watercolor, I like it to sort of tie-dye and blend. And therefore, that takes a great amount of water. You'll notice, because crayon is waterproof, my water paint is not hurting this crayon at all. It's not hurting this one bit. Moving on to my green. And because this is rainbow order, these colors won't blend badly. You can choose just warm colors if you like, or just cool colors. Maybe you'd like your banyan tree to look like it's a super cold evening. And that's okay. You're certainly able to do that. This is gonna take a lot of dry time, and you might have to be careful with it and not move it very much if it's super soaking wet like mine. Once you have your background painted, you're gonna need to let it dry, and I'd love for you to submit a picture, and you can do that right here, or you can do that by just sending a picture attached to a message for this project. So good luck, take your time, and if I've gone too fast in the video, just push pause.